The contest, which would in a genuine race situation have led to a disqualification. But now the sharp Surrey bend kicks in, bringing with it a sometimes telling change in relative wind direction, a potentially disruptive change in conditions. But conditions on what amounts to a mill pond ought not to be too much of a factor this year. Every card is now stacked in favour of the Surrey side, which often contrarily acts as an impetus to those on the outside of the bend.
Yeah, Oxford are pushing hard. They're not letting Cambridge have the water. They're fighting back, maybe starting to inch back again. Rebecca is trying to hold the line, hold Oxford wide, and then cut in sharp. Because, yeah, Cambridge will have the advantage for the next 2 minutes. But as we can see there, big clash. It's going to upset the rhythm, it's going to upset the boat, and they're going to have to get clear, because otherwise we're not going to get a rowing race. We're just going to get a fight.
Oar meets oar as Cambridge try to pull away, as Oxford try to hang on round this long Surrey bend. Let's get down and hear again from Colin Groshong in the Oxford boat. He is imploring them, and they are responding. Oxford, I think, have recovered a seat or two here, and we have a wonderful race around past St Paul's School, and the beers and the cheers of that delicious row of Hammersmith pubs. They reach the 2-mile mark and beyond, and upcoming next to Chiswick.
Oxford have seen the danger, they've responded. You heard Colin Groshong calling for a major push. Their stroke rate went up to 38, 39 strokes per minute, while Cambridge were sagging down on 34, 33 now. We may have seen Cambridge's best effort already.
Let's get into the Cambridge boat now and see how Rebecca Dalbiggin is responding. There are some similarities here to last year's race. It was a roundabout here some 10 minutes into the race 12 months ago that Oxford finally got a grip of that contest, and Oxford are getting at least a greater grip of this one.
First signs of weakness in the Cambridge crew, and Rebecca there was not as aggressive as her Oxford counterpart. You could see, well, we heard the Oxford cops call for a big push, and my word, did his crew respond with a massive 20 strokes to take them from half a length down to half a length up. Rebecca needs to get a response out of her crew now, because remember, Cambridge had the inside of this bend for the next minute or a minute and a half, and then the bend's going to be in Oxford's favour.
There you see the figures at the bottom of your screen. Oxford on the whole stroking slightly higher. We saw a 37 appear on screen just now. Cambridge around about 34. At the Chiswick steps, you see Oxford 10.18, Cambridge a second just more. Beyond that, it is a quickish race. The record to the Chiswick steps just short of 10 minutes, but Oxford have got it by the throat now.
What we saw there was the benefit of being a big, tall, powerful crew. Colin Groshong called for power, and they got themselves out of trouble in a hurry. Cambridge now starting to look a little bit tired. On the other hand, they did not benefit from that clash. The seven-man Ryan Monahan missed 3 or 4 strokes, and that didn't help them when they were ahead.
Into Cordy Reach, who still has it in them. As the coaches would have it, who can snap the handles, who can move their bit of the boat, who can stretch the boat, who can keep it all joined up.
Oxford have just about taken a 1-length advantage on air now, trying to close the door. They're deliberately steering in front of Cambridge, so Cambridge get dirty water, and don't let Cambridge get the rhythm. The umpire is warning both crews, particularly Oxford, to move over. Yeah, because Cambridge are going to have to move now. If Oxford get warned and Cambridge come back into them, we could see another incident, another clash, and potential disqualification.
Very few recover from behind at this stage. It requires immense mental strength to keep believing from second place now. It has been done, and done quite recently in the early years of the 21st century. But those guys in the Oxford boat not only have a lead, but they have the advantage of the final bend.
And you can just see in their rhythm now, they've got the confidence of being ahead. They were big favourites coming to this race. Cambridge really rattled them, and Oxford started to misfire. Now they can see the opposition, yeah, the lungs are burning, the legs are on fire, but they've got the confidence of being in front and knowing that final bend is in their favour. The boat is running better. Cambridge will have to respond. We have to see that move within the next 3-4 minutes.
And asked about his crew's ferocious regime through the winter, the coach of these men, the coach of Cambridge, Chris Nielsen, said, "What would you rather be doing? Imagine the sense of privilege. Be proud to sit in the Cambridge boat and row for your university and row as a part of history. But that privilege is looking frayed round the edges now. Everything is stacked in favour of the favourites, Oxford.
Oxford really starting to relax into it. You see Antti Kushurin in the stroke seat there starting to enjoy it, giving his crew a great rhythm to follow. They're only going to extend this lead unless Cambridge really step on the gas.
And of course the great psychological advantage for the leading crew is that, as painful as every stroke is now, they have the enemy in their sight. They can see it hurting for Cambridge. Whereas Cambridge, as we see them from the umpire's boat, all they can see is water and the likelihood of defeat. You can sense the proximity of the leading boat, but you cannot see the deficit. Only the cox knows the full truth and the horror of that truth.
What we can't underestimate is the amount of energy that these athletes have put in to get this far. Okay, Oxford are starting to look relaxed, starting to look like they're making it easy, but yeah, that push in the middle must have really taken out of them to actually make the boat speed improve that much over such a short period of time. That was a real physical push. Cambridge are going to have to dig deeper and deeper than they've ever done before to get back from here. And what's happening is Rebecca is trying to come inside Oxford and actually get the inside of the bend around Barnes Bridge, trying to cut the corner and take a chance.
They have to take a chance. They would have to get lucky now, Cambridge. It is very much Oxford's to lose as they shoot the central span of Barnes Bridge and head towards the final furlong. Only 6 times in history, only once since the war, has the Barnes Bridge leader failed to win. Roger Bannister in our build-up to the race was quoted as saying, most people don't know what they're capable of, but it would be stretching credulity now to suggest that Rebecca Talbiggen there in the Cambridge boat are capable of making up this deficit. For Cambridge, so much investment for so little probable return.
Very, very brave effort by Cambridge. They impressed me in the first half of that race. They really took it to Oxford, really made the best of the chances that they had. Rebecca Talbiggen, particularly in the first half of the race, was dominating. She was able to give her crew an advantage and her crew were able to respond. But to me, that crucial push in the middle, when Oxford went for it, they had the power, they had the ability just to jump from behind to in front. And now looking at them, they look confident, they look relaxed, and they're looking good.
And for the second year running, Wayne, because it is very similar to what we saw 12 months ago, the second year running, Cambridge have made a race of it to halfway and beyond, but haven't been strong enough to hold on.
They made a fantastic effort of it, just like last year. They threw all their cards on the table. They very nearly got a length clear, which is what they needed to do, but Oxford were too strong when the crucial moment came.
And so, at Oxford, success continues to breed success. They have the knack. Their coach, Sean Bowden, calm and clever and contained, has honed the system, which is now repeatedly proven. And Cambridge have some catching up to do, some 21st century catching up to do.
Yeah, it shows the success of the Oxford system that Sean Bowden has produced. He's producing winners, he's producing crews that when it's in the fight, they know how to fight.
Got Koviak and Smith, the 2 big Americans. Tom Salisbury from London, and there is Kushurin, who lost 2 years ago and has come back to stroke a winning boat. Oxford have the knack, they have the personnel, far-flung athletes harvested from all corners of the globe and taught the Oxford way, the winning way. Multinational Oxford, 6 countries in one boat, unified by the language of sport and the common desire to succeed. They know, they just know, there is a certainty about their approach. The first decade of the 21st century is shaded ineradicably dark blue. It is Oxford again. Oxford 2009. Pedigree and power have won the day. 5 Olympians have had their way, and so has anyone whose heart beats for OUBC. Cambridge follow them gamely home, having given as much as they possibly could have given. But for the distinguished Oxford president Colin Smith, another prize to set alongside his Olympic silver medal. His boat race wins now eclipse his single defeat. For the men at the extremes of the boat, Plotkowiak and Kushurin, extremes of emotion, beaten 2 years ago, returning now as winners.